Okay, this is part two of the class, this very long class, the longest class I think I've ever done. Before I move on to the last card, I just wanted to show you a couple things about these presents. I did on the original card, I colored these presents in. But for this one, I'm stenciling them, mostly because I don't have any markers with me. But I just wanted to show you, I didn't make the squares on my stencils for these presents because I wanted to have a different kind of present on the stencil. So I wanted you to be able to put ribbon and a colored ribbon and bows on them. So on the stencil itself, there are different presents and they're bigger than the presents that I have down here. And that way you have both choices. You can do the little presents from the stamp set, or you could do these bigger ones from the stencil. And so I just wanted to show you that the reason I did that was because it's really easy to stencil rectangles. So I'm just using my foam tape again and just masking off the edges. And there you have it, your own little stencil for your presents. And that's a quick and easy little stenciling job here. So that's the last bit of this card, and I'm going to move on and we'll do the stenciling on the last card now. So you can see how easy peasy that is. Oh, I'll go and die cut these. Oh, I haven't done these yet either. Let's do them real quick. I think I'm going to use that little teeny. I use my little teeny stencil brush to do my. I haven't used this yet, but I'll show you. It's nice if you don't want to do a bunch of masking and you have a little teeny area to just use these darling little. It's a round dowel with just a little bit of sponge on it, but it's really great for these tiny little things because you can get exactly where you want to go and less fussy than having to tape everything off. And if you haven't seen these, the smaller of these stenciling sponges and these little sticks, I'm going to have them on my site this week. So there you go. Now we'll move on to the last card. Okay, so the last card kind of brings together all the things we've done so far, which is to do the two-tone patterns on the presents, the background. You know, this is a cool swinging Z-fold card from Papercut. It's a multicolor stenciling job on the confetti in the back, which I think is really pretty done that way. We're going to stencil some balloons. I am shadowing these a little bit, so we haven't done that before, but I'm just going to do a little shading on them to give them a little bit of dimension. And then we're going to do a background with the dots for the inside of the card. So I'll bring it all together. I'm going to set this up aside. Let's start with this background, actually. I'm going to stamp the happy birthday. Because I'm stamping it first because I actually want to make sure I go a little bit lighter. If you look at my original, I did a little bit of stenciling behind it, but I really kept it light so you'd have a nice contrast on the sentiment. Okay, I'm just going to do some dots on this background piece. I'm going to stamp my birthday first because I'm going to work around it a little bit, not too fussy, but I'm going to go ahead and tape this down to hold it. All right, and I'm just going to stencil. Whoa, moved it. Let's see if I can get that back where it was. I did. See if I can tape this a little bit better. Okay. Also, sometimes I get a little heavy-handed on the sponging when I'm trying to go fast. What's the point at this point of going fast? All right. When I get to the part where the birthday is, though, what I'm gonna do is just go a little light over the birthday, not much. Right, and then I'll replace the stencil and do the bottom part. So I kind of just went light on there. There's a little hint of you can see that very well. I kind of went light behind the birthday, so you have a little hint of the dots, but it doesn't sort of. It kind of highlights the birthday and doesn't compete with it. So I will retape. I can see where I went before, so I'm going to try and lay off of that area too much. It's random dots, so it's not you don't have to be too fussy about this. One more. So as I don't make lines at the top. Okay. I'm doing a very good job of taping that down. Let's do it like this. I think I've abused my tape so much that it's not sticking. Okay. Finish the rest of this. Alrighty, got that part done. So you can see I have a little bit of a strip over here. Rest of it looks pretty good. I'm just gonna put my stencil down here. I am gonna mask this on the side so I don't, especially with the big sponging brush, that I don't get into the, make a line on the outside edge of the stencil, because that's easy to do with a bigger brush. So I'm just gonna do this outside edge. I'll move it down. Put it down and replace this tape. And here we go. So just finish it off in that way. Make sure I got it all. Yep. Perfect. All right, so that's the background of the inside of the card. Yep. Lovely. Tape over here. All right, now we're going to stamp the rest of the pieces. There are, show you this card again. There are 3 balloons. So I'm just going to stamp 3 big balloons. Like this, so I can fit a present over there. 3 balloons, the 2 presents, and the strings of the balloons. All right, so here's a present. second present. And I'm gonna treat these balloon strings like I did earlier, which is to turn them over, just let them land on my desktop so that they are in their normal curved position. And I'm gonna stamp them. I use the one that has the more squiggles twice. I'm gonna stamp them both at the same time, so I have to reposition it, but I'm only gonna use one of them. Okay. Stamping done on that. I will stamp the word stamps afterwards. I just think they come out nice and clear on top of the stenciling. Depends on your ink. But I prefer to do that. Okay. All right, these presents. Well, they're gonna get that same treatment I just showed you with the foam tape masking. Not foam tape, goodness, I keep saying foam tape. Post-it tape, or whatever other masking kind of tape you have. I just have always used post-it tape. I mean, between my love of post-it tape, which is a 3M product, and the giant roll mass, this is the end of my giant roll of foam tape. I should figure out a way to carry both of those things on my website because I use them so much. All right. So I'm gonna use little ones. Okay. So the little present has a background of yellow. So we'll put some yellow. Yep. Quick and easy. Yellow background for that present, and it's going to be pink for the other one. Use this. Okay. Pink for that one. Base is done, and now I'm just going to go back in and do the striping. Because this is already masked off, all I have to do is lay the stencil over top. And do the striping again with, make sure you stripe in the direction of the stripes. So I'm just going to swipe it like that. It's going to take just a couple of passes to do that. Easy. And switch over to my dot stencil that I apparently love so much that I use it on everything. Same thing here. I'm going to get a little bit darker pink. Maybe that it shows up. So take a little darker pink. Ooh, nice. Lovely. Okay. So I've got those guys done. Interesting. Okay, now I can pull off the masking I did on these. And there are your little presents all ready to be die cut. At the end of this whole thing, I'm gonna, as soon as I finish making these, all these pieces, I will pause the video and go die cut them and come back. And at any point during these videos, that is what you should do. If you're doing the cards one by one, you can obviously always pause and go die cut and come back and finish the assembly. While I'm at this, let's do this stripy one. Gonna hold it down a little bit so it doesn't move around too much. It's also really helpful to hold it down so that the stripes, the little stripes don't move around too much. So it's kind of nice to tape it for that reason. Let's see if I can hold that down that way. Actually, I'm gonna do it this way. Stick guy, all right. Same thing I just did, which is, it's pretty light. Did I use yellow? Maybe. Maybe I did yellow on yellow. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it yellow on yellow because it's pretty subtle, my striping. Oh, yes. That is what I did. Yellow on yellow. See how much they kind of want to move around a little bit. Hold them. Stripes, 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 stripes. So. Okay. So that's just a little tone on tone. Ooh, can I get that so you can see it? A little tone on tone yellow. Okay. Finished with the striping part of our program. All right, quickly on the balloons. Just a single balloon. I'm gonna do the whole thing in yellow. All right, and then to just do a tiny bit of shading, I'm gonna take the orange and I'm just gonna swipe it in from the side. Try to make it a little darker so you can see it better. Yeah, you can see that decently. Should blend that a little bit right there. But anyway, you get a little bit of a shading that way. Same thing with the pink. Gonna do that pretty. And I just made my pink darker than it was. Let's see. There we go. So a little bit of a pink, lighter pink. Then I am gonna go with a little bit darker pink to shadow. But I'm gonna use a pretty light touch on this. This dark pink is pretty intense, so can always add more, but you can't take it away once it's down. So let's build that a little bit. Little by little. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Just a little bit of texture or a little bit of shadowing on that pink one. Lovely. And then I did my last balloon in a like, it was blue, a light blue, and then this light blue with the big sponger actually. Where did I put the big sponger handle? Did I not just use that 5 seconds ago? Did I drop it on the ground? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I will do the light blue. And obviously you can stick this down, but this, I say that right as I let go of it. Let's do stick it down then, just for safety's sake. All right, so I don't move it around too much. All right. I'm just adding my shade on a little bit of green, actually. There you go. Cool thing about stenciling stuff too is you can kind of you can invent colors as you go too by layering colors to make a different color, because especially if you're using dye ink, because they're transparent. So if you want a color that you don't have, you can layer different colors of dye ink to get that. Say to make a light color darker, you can do that. Always a good look to shadow with like a light gray. All right, so those are my balloons, and I'm gonna stamp their sayings on them. Didn't intend it when I first made this. I didn't necessarily recognize that the little sayings were going to be perfect to stamp on the balloons, but they are. And I like it. So yay. Whoa, I just dropped it on my lap. Yay. Nice. Boo-boo, but I'm die cutting, so it doesn't matter. Because I dropped my pad on my lap as I was stamping. Excellent job by me. All right, and it's your day. The ink pad traveling. Okay. It's your day. Okay. Balloons. Done. Everything is done except this little multicolored background on the back of on the front of the Z-fold card. So how do we do that? This is how we do that. We are going to take some, I think I'm just gonna use foam tape. You can just use piece of paper normally, but because of the fact that I have a ton of foam tape out here, I'm just gonna put some foam tape here just to block that. I am gonna do it while it's closed, just because that's gonna be easiest. No, no, I'm not. Actually, that is not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it while it's open. So it's kind of tricky though, because it's gonna be on the side. When you open it up, it looks like you're doing the other side, but you're not. I'm gonna do this, block these off. Just along the score line, okay? And then I'm gonna take a piece of paper. Let's see where the scallop thing is. I'm gonna slide a piece of paper in here, just like that. Well, I'm not gonna actually stencil on here anyway. So I'm only stenciling this part of it. I don't have to worry too much about it in here because I'm not stenciling in here. Okay. That's what I'm gonna do from 1 second to the next. All right, this was a multicolor thing. Like I did those dots before. I'm a little bit more intentional on this than I was on the dots, in that I tended to do specific color combinations. So I'll show you what I mean. For example, I would just swipe some color, like that's gonna be a more yellow based one. That might be, yeah, I like to randomly pick them. Doesn't matter too much if I go into the other shapes here, but I am picking shapes to get sort of a solid base color to begin with. Now, to that end. That's where this little sticky thing comes in a little bit too, you can use. But let me do the basics of these first. Not the light ink, lighter ink. And you can be really light with this to begin with until you figure out like what you're trying to do. But I'm gonna do a little bit of pink. Maybe that little squiggle can be pink. Maybe that little squiggle, I mean, that little triangle can be pink. Maybe a dot there. All right, and maybe I want to just put a little shadow on the yellow stuff I already do, a little bit of it. I can also go in with my orange. Maybe do that on some of the yellow, just a little bit of a. Yeah, I do tend to do these kind of like I did the balloons where I'm just coming in from the side to add a little bit of color. All right, where's that green? This is mostly I do this just with what's left over ink on my spongers. I don't need a whole bunch of extra strength to it really. So I'm gonna do this. Some of these triangles, make them green. Might go and add some blue. I don't want to do that with the big one. Let's see. Let me get a smaller, gonna make a smaller blue. Keep doing everything on my blue with the big blue, but let's not. Let's do a smaller blue. All right. Add a little blue here. Add a little blue shading on some of the other things. Hit some of these squiggles. This one doesn't have any ink, so I am adding ink to it because it's new. No, it's a pretty just fun little random thing to play. Do a little bit of purple. I not use, I guess that's good. Let's do a little bit of purple. I use this purple. I haven't used this purple yet. It's a little lavendery. That, maybe that. There we go. Okay, so you can kind of see where you got what you want. Kind of a nice little random confetti background, and I'll just replace it. This time I am a little bit careful about, I don't want to go over anything, right? I don't want to, so I want to kind of just place it so it looks like a repeating pattern there. And so you'll see actually where I don't really want to, there's a dot right. There's a dot here and there's a dot there that I already did. I'm just going to mask them off so that I don't go over them again. And then everything else is fair game. I'll do that. I'll do that pretty quickly. And maybe a little bit more color. Some yellow, 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 yellow. We can do this fast now. Not talking so much about it. Blue. Blue. It's good. What else? Maybe a little orange. A little orange on the yellow, a little orange by itself. A little shading. Lovely, lovely. All right. Yeah, here. How about Some more of that purple. Sure, why not? And got a purple squiggle right there. A little bit more on that triangle. And then I'm just gonna go in. My last pass here is gonna be back with the pink. Just do a couple of dots in full pink. And then I will this squiggle, maybe add a little shading on some of them to tie the colors together. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let me make sure that's what I want it to look like before I pull this all off. And it really is. So I'll pull all this off now. Take out my masks, take off my tape. Okay, now. There you go. So how fun is that? Like, you can see they're a little bit shaded in there. It's just a fun little random patterns. Okay, the last thing I need to do is stamp one more piece, and then we will pause and die cut. Just gonna stamp sending birthday hugs on that yellow on yellow piece that I made. Just in black. There you have it. All right, so you all should pause the video and die cut whatever you need to die cut, and we will come back and I will assemble these cards. Okay, I took about 15 minutes to go cut all of the stuff we stenciled, and I'm just gonna put the 3 cards together that we haven't done. So go ahead and do that right now. Let's start with this one. All these guys here. Ignore the back of this, it's my mess up piece. Center that there. The little piece. Okay. There's that. So the main card is done. Now we're just going to stick the die cuts on. Okay. Okay, let's see what I need. My balloons. My strings for my balloons. 1, 2, 3 strings, 3 balloons, and the 2 presents. I did attach a lot of this with foam tape. I'm gonna cut a few pieces of foam tape just because I know I'm gonna use them. Okay. Just a few more of those. All right, these balloons, I find it easier to stick the strings onto the balloons first and then attach them to the card. Now the balloons are done, you can see here, are done with foam tape. Why is that so blurry? Not sure why my camera keeps going in and out of focus. It's not a great quality in the camera. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick that onto the back of the balloon. So I'm gonna put a little bit of adhesive on the back of all of my balloons. So I can anchor down that. Oh, sorry, I'm off the camera. Oh, right, just a little bit of adhesive there. So we've got some adhesive on the back of all of my balloons, and I'm gonna just go ahead and stick the balloon string and angle it however I feel like angling it so that they're kind of like that. There's one. There's two. And there's the third one. And then I'll just go ahead and put these on with foam tape. So with the back of my balloon, we've got a couple of pieces of foam tape. I'm gonna go ahead and stick this one on and reinforce the string by sticking the foam tape on top of it. Now I'll place this balloon kind of in the top corner. I overlapped a little bit of that corner. Yay, yay. And the other thing I was gonna do was put some adhesive at the bottom of the string just to stick it down. There you go. I'm gonna do that usually before I put that on the card. Good grief. I feel like I've been recording this class for 6 days. I'm just starting to lose it. All right. Here we go. Let's learn from that and put the adhesive on the string before we put it on the card. Yes, very good idea. Okay. Just want to get some adhesive. Okay, so I usually use those small little tape guns. Like this is more cost effective, but also semi unwieldy. So some foam tape on the back of the balloons. Yeah, put the green one down kind of underneath, so I'm going to put that one down next. All right, that was a little pause while my camera fell off my camera mount and landed right in the middle of my car. Things are going well today. You can see on this card too, how this is a little bit higher. So what I'm gonna do, because it overlaps the other one, is put a little bit of extra adhesive at the top, foam tape at the top to make it kind of have a double layer. I put just a piece of it, so that it is attached to the base card as well and not just floating there. It's more stable that way. So let's do that. All right, so just at the top, a little double layer of foam tape. And then that will stick to the card, and also the other piece will stick to the other balloon. That makes sense, but it's a little bit more stable that way. All right, let's see if I can get this. It doesn't have to be exactly like my other one. But let's see, how do I like the strings overlapping on this one? About like that. Here we go. So balloons adhered. Then all I have to do is just adhere the presents. That will be a quick and easy job. Yeah, we wanted to jump. Okay. There you go. That card is finished. Yay. Okay. Let's adjust it here. The pieces to this card. Oops. Back to the fuzziness. Have something to focus on. There we go. All right. So I have two balloons in a very similar situation to the other one, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just put some adhesive on the back of the balloons. There's strings. You'll notice on this one, the strings are pretty short on these balloons. So I'm gonna stick them further up the back of on the back of the balloon. So they're not, you can see them, they're not as long as the other ones were. So let's do that. Yeah, okay. Here we go. There's not, again, this doesn't have to be done exactly the way I did it before. Not any reason for that. All right. So this guy, let me put this guy down first. He will be nice and solid. Put a little bit of adhesive on the bottom of the string. So I can stick that down. Usually when I do that, the tape is a little bit bigger than the string, so I'm just gonna roll it up there so it gets onto my string. Put this balloon on the card this way. Let's see how I want to do that. Kind of like that. Yeah, that's actually what I'm gonna do here is cut the string just a tiny bit. Yeah. All right. There, that one goes, and then I'm just gonna put some foam tape. I see where this overlaps here. I'm gonna put my foam tape on this back of this side. So it's actually gonna be on the back of that side. So I can overlap it on the other balloon. Go. On that. Here we go there. Okay. So because I wanted to thin that a little bit, I'm gonna put this string on this one. Kind of in the same place. There we go. Two balloons. Okay. So the two balloons are on there. I did just put the presents. I did not use foam tape on the presents. I just stuck them onto this. So basically these two things are stuck on the two layers, the two mountains of this. So it's going to be this panel and this panel that we're going to stick the things to. So where are my presents? Three presents are right here. And remember that these are poking up some, right? So you don't really want to have a bunch of adhesive on the back of this. So you're really going to put adhesive only at the bottom of your presents. Pick them up. All right. Present. These are there. And adhesive on the bottom of this one. Actually, this one I did put with foam tape. Yep. The middle one I put with foam tape. So do that. But again, pretty much just the bottom of it. Okay. So I'm going to take the green one and kind of arrange that. Middle one. And I kind of made them a little cattywampus. This one will be this way. Just a little bit of an overlap. Okay. So there's the presents for that layer. And then I did stencil the cake piece. Forgot all about that. I'm gonna go back and do that. I'm gonna only do half the card. All right, so there's a little cake stand here on this stencil. Gonna do that about, I want to say 3/4 of an inch down. Let me stick that down with some tape so we don't move around. That's centered pretty well. We think so. We think so. Yeah, okay. So let's take that down. And then just quickly stencil that with purple. Put on the easy way. So, okay. Enough. There we go. Stencil. Little piece done. Now I'll set my cake on top of it. Just like this, poking up. Again, you don't want to be on the back of this crease, so you're going to put your foam tape mostly on the back of this present towards the bottom. Piece of it. All right. Actually, before I stick that down, it's going to be easier to put the candles on there. So I'll put just regular adhesive behind the top part of the cake. Nah. Yeah, actually, well, this adhesive is pretty forgiving because I can roll off the extra bits of it. If you want to be safer, you can put your adhesive on your candles. But I'll show you what I'm going to do here. So I put adhesive on the back of the cake piece. But I don't really want a bunch of adhesive on the back here. All right, so my candles are all on my cake. They look pretty good. But see where I had put some adhesive there, I'm gonna go ahead and just that adhesive from the ATG will just roll off. It's kind of like rubber cement. So I'm just going to take that adhesive off so it's not sticking out. See how it kind of rolls up? You can get rid of it. If you can see that or not, but I can get rid of that so it's not sticky on the back. There we go. That's the adhesive gone. The adhesive gone. So there you go. There's a little trick in case you screw up. I'm good at this class demonstrating all the ways not to do something. But you can watch me mess up so that you don't have to. So there you have it. That one, when the card stands up, you can see it. You can see the back of that just poking up. Okay, that card's done. And the last one, which is really mostly just sticking some things down and foam taping some pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the foam tape on, get them ready to go. It's 3 candles and a sentiment. So I'll do fairly wide pieces on my candles so they're nice and stable. Okay. Big pieces, and then I'll cut some slightly smaller pieces. And you could put some behind the flame, but I'm not going to bother. Okay, so those are all ready to go with their foam tape on them. Rest of this is just sticking the card together. Boom tape on my sentiment. Okay. And again, my favorite card, the center stair step card. Apparently can't do a class without it. I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back of these things. Adhesive on the back of that. I'll go ahead and tape up these two while I'm at it. Okay. So let's get over there so I don't get in it. And adhesive on the bottom strip. All this because it's a very colorful card, but it's on a white base card, which is nice and cost effective. So put this piece down. Kind of because it lines up evenly with the line of where those score lines are. So it'll be even border around the whole thing on the two sides and the top. It should come out fine that way. Okay, I'll put these on. I'm going to open this up for this piece. Put these on here. It's more centered. Centering that in that space. And from here, centering this in this space. And strip at the bottom. Centering that top to bottom. All of those are there. Now all I have to do is put my candles on. Right. Easiest way to do this is to do the center candle first. Center that on the space, and then you can just put the other two on either side evenly. It's somewhat harder to do when you do the side ones first. As these bottoms are going to get covered up anyway, but just kind of try and center that a bit on there. And I left just a sliver of space. You can see there's not a ton of space on either side of these anyway. So. There we go. And the sentiment on the bottom, overlapping candle bottoms. So basically it kind of just overlaps that and the green piece. And then there you have it, your center stair step card. So here we have the end of the very long class that I made, just because I was really over enthusiastic about playing with this stuff and wanted to give people a lot of options. So thanks for hanging in there with me, and have an amazing day.